Hey, this is Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly. It's Thursday, November 17th, 2022. You're listening to the O'Reilly Update. Here's what's happening today in America. Mitch McConnell selected to lead the Senate. Republicans, how is that still possible? 40% of households pay nothing to the IRS. 75% of workers need a second job to offset inflation, and food prices hit another record high. Also coming up, the message of the day. But first, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell winning re-election as Senate GOP leader, fending off a challenge from Senator Rick Scott and setting himself up to become the longest-serving party leader in the history of the Senate. What? Other Republicans, like Ted Cruz, called for the leadership election to be postponed until after the runoff in Georgia. Mitch McConnell was first elected to the Senate back in 1984. He's now 80 years old. You're telling me there's no one in the Senate who is more qualified than him? He's the only person who can do the job. 40% of the public paying $0 in federal income tax. The group includes the elderly, disabled, those without a job, and people earning less than $41,000. That number's actually down a few points compared to the COVID years when millions were ordered to stay home. While the unemployment rate remains steady at 3.5%, the low figure means millions of Americans have simply stopped looking for work. What are they doing? Aren't you curious? What are the millions of people who were working, who are now not working? What are they doing? How are they paying for anything? Are they putting that much debt on their credit cards? Seems like it. A report from the Wall Street Journal finds 75% of workers need a second job to cope with inflation. The average household now spends $200 more per week because of high prices. To boost their paycheck, Americans are finding part-time employment at restaurants, bars, construction sites, and real estate agencies. The typical household has lost $6,000 in purchasing power in the last 12 months. But let's vote for Democrats again. Let's put John Fetterman in the Senate. He'll make it better. Actually, we're going to talk about that in the next segment. This idea of we need to make America great again. It's really fascinating to me. A lot of people don't want America to be great. But we'll do that coming up next. I'm just trying to explain how this can be true, how people can be spending so much more every week because of inflation and still vote for the party that brought us inflation. It boggles the mind, so we'll explain it next. The cost of groceries, speaking of, hitting an all-time high. Average prices are up 28% compared to last year. Typical bag of potato chips set you back $5, eggs $4, gallon of juice $3. Typical family spends $900 a month on food, up from $600 last year. The message of the day, moments away.
Do you have a mystery smell in your home you can't get rid of? I have the solution. The Eden Pure Thunderstorm Air Purifier. It uses oxy technology that destroys every odor there is. If you don't know where the smell is coming from, the thunderstorm will get rid of it in minutes. The thunderstorm doesn't mask or cover up bad odors. It eliminates them. Best of all, no filters to buy. Right now, save $200 on an Eden Pure Thunderstorm 3-pack for the whole home. You'll get 3 units for under $200. Put one in your basement, bedroom, family room, kitchen, anywhere you need fresh, clean air. Please go to EdenPureDeals.com. Put in discount code BILL3 to get 3 units for under $200. That's EdenPureDeals.com. Discount code BILL3 to save $200. Shipping is free.
Hey, this is Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith, with your O'Reilly message of the day. Make America great again. You know what's interesting about that phrase? Many people in America don't want America to be great. I was thinking about this after the depressing midterms. How could inflation be 10% and people still vote for Democrats? How bad does inflation need to be? How bad does crime need to be? How many millions of illegal immigrants do we need to let in? 5 million, 10 million, 100? When is enough? That's a genuine question. I don't know. I think the Republican establishment thought that they didn't need to campaign on anything. They didn't need to have a plan for anything. We can just run against this because this is terrible. And obviously the Democrats are to blame and Republicans will, everyone assumes, be better. And it wasn't enough. And I think the reason why it wasn't enough isn't because the Republicans didn't make their claim well enough. It's because people actually like how bad things are. You think, Slater, what are you talking about? How could people like how things are going today? Why would people not vote for things to be better? Well, let me explain my thesis. Trump's motto is "Make America Great Again." I fear a majority of Americans don't want America to be great. It used to be called liberal guilt, but this disease has now spread. Now it's just American guilt. We're too wasteful. Our trucks are too big. We win too many medals at the Olympics. We're hurting the planet too much. We deserve to be knocked down a bit. We've been great, and look at all the bad things we've done. Look at all the damage we've caused around the world. And as we win, other countries are losing, and that's not nice of us. So, I think it's good that we have a lower seat at the table. And Democrats will use words like, we need to abide by the Kyoto Protocol or the Paris Climate Accords. We need to accept things the way they are. We need to tolerate things. It's all very diminutive. I think the American psyche today says we deserve to get beat up a little bit. And I'm going to vote in a way that makes me feel like I'm not imposing on the world anymore. We've done enough damage already. So when Trump says we need to make America great again, we love it. We're like, oh, yeah, of course. Right? And we assume that a majority of our fellow Americans want that too, but I'm not sure they do. In 2003, when I first started paying attention to politics, I distinctly remember listening to Air America, and Janine Garofalo was talking about the Iraq War and how, remember the Iraq War and the coalition of the willing, and Garofalo, who's crazy far-left nutjob, says she wishes we weren't the leader among nations, but instead we're just one of many countries, just one of many. And I distinctly remember that. And Barack Obama was asked about American exceptionalism. And he said, well, if I lived in Greece, I'd believe in Greek exceptionalism. And just decades of kids in college taught that America's a force for bad. Why would making America great appeal to them? I think voters in Pennsylvania voted for John Fetterman, the homely looking guy in a sweatshirt, because they feel like the guy in the sweatshirt, or they want to be the guy in the sweatshirt, not the sharp looking guy in a suit. So if that's true, not only do we have to convince people that Republicans have the best policies to make America great again, we have to convince people that it is good to be great. They don't want greatness. They don't want Trump Tower. They want the tenements in Queens. America's not the greatest country in the world, and we should stop even trying to be. Most people don't want us to be great. They want us to be Peru. I'll tell you, the losers who voted that way, they're sure getting what they voted for. Coming up next, something you might not know.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-925-7584 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-925-7584. That's 800-925-7584. What do you have to lose? Call 800-925-7584. Again, 800-925-7584.
Hey, it's Mike Slater, host of the podcast Politics by Faith. Now it's time for something you might not know. You ready for a fact that will blow your mind? How many Americans do you think can't read? How many Americans can't read? Maybe, I don't know, 500,000? Half a million? It can't be a million. So half a million people, maybe? 130 million Americans can't read at a basic level. Well, what does that mean? They can't read an instruction manual or a prescription pill bottle. The amount of reading that's necessary for basic tasks and functioning. 130 million Americans can't read. This might be worse than ever. You're thinking, how can that be? This is from the National Literacy Institute, by the way. Now, maybe they have an incentive to overstate the problem. But let's go with it. There's 210 million adults. So that means 60% of American adults can't read. That's 60% illiteracy in America today. Kenneth Lockridge, the author of Literacy in Colonial New England, concluded that in 1787, so when the Constitution was written, 90% of Americans were literate, so 10% illiteracy. Today we're at 60% illiterate. Wow. Have you heard anyone explain the most recent midterm election results based on the fact that people can't read? It's true, though. Today we have entire cities, like Baltimore, full of high schools where not one student can read at grade level, not one. And the Democrats say they're concerned about democracy. Half the country can't even spell it. When Thomas Jefferson was the governor of Virginia, he passed a bill related to education. And the bill starts off, those entrusted with power have, over time and by slow operations, perverted the power, into tyranny. And it is believed that the most effectual means of preventing this tyranny would be to illuminate the minds of the people at large. My argument is that the effectual means of preventing tyranny, literacy, no longer exist. Therefore, the people entrusted with power have perverted it into tyranny. We live in an idiocracy. So what's the solution? Wake people up. Show them how they're being used. Get people to see how we are sheep in the midst of wolves, ignorant and even illiterate. It's harder to stop a tyranny when half the country can't read, which means it's up to you to stop the tyrants. More coming up.
Inflation at its highest level in 40 years and interest rates are skyrocketing, as you know. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, predicting recession. So to protect your future, do what I did. Call the only precious metal dealers I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. You can get started with a short phone call. They will place physical gold and silver right at your door or inside your IRA or 401k. Please tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Don't wait. You can call them now, 877-444-GOLD, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532. Again, 877-444-GOLD, or text GOLD to 65532.
Thank you, Bill, for letting me fill in again. And thank you for listening. You can join me over at my podcast, Politics by Faith. We'll see you tomorrow.